I'm running a little bit late. 7 minutes into the teaching. Let's go. All right, cool. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, good. Wonderful. All right, so this in particular is Torah portion this week is called Bashalach. Okay. And what is Bashalach? Bashalach means when he sent away. Now, continuing on from last week, we found that Pharaoh has decided to send the children of Israel out from his land, okay? Not because of any other reason, but because of the judgments of the Most High Yah. Okay, so this in particular is week Torah portion. We're going to be focusing on some of the other elements about that, and I'm going to break down Hebraically some things to you, which opens our eyes up to the purpose of Yahweh sending us out. Okay. If we don't understand why the Most High sent us out, then we really don't know why we're going to go back um, into our land. Okay, so there's a purpose for him doing this, and so I want to share that with you today. And feel free again to ask any questions that you may have in regards to the teaching. And if I don't have the answer, I'll look it up and get it to you, right? So I don't know everything off the top of my head, but I do want to give you the information in a very accurate manner. Okay, so Yahweh, this Torah portion too is about how we're coming to understand the Most High Yah. Okay, and it has to deal with our trust, how we're trusting Him. It has to do with timing, right? So it has to do with trust. It has to do with timing. And of course, it always has to do with the test. It's always about a test. And so we see, in our Torah, how the children of Israel were testing the Most High and how the Most High is testing them. And so we're going to dig a little bit into that too, to find out. Let me see. Excuse me for just one moment. Someone's trying to send me something. Someone's been trying to get in and they're having a chance. Let me say, okay, great. Uh, we're on now. Let me see. Now, okay, cool. All right. Sorry, everyone. Just someone's trying to get in. All right. So it's about trusting Yahweh. It's about his timing and it's about testing. Okay. And that's the beauty of the Torah because we're going to find out how. Cover distract. Okay. Go ahead. Read that. I see. So let's deal with this idea of trust. The Most High is interested in us having trust with him. Okay. He's interested in the process, right? And this in particular trust that we're talking about has to be a proven process, right? And we are going to have to find a way to protect. Could you put your device on mute for me? Thank you. Get some feedback. Thank you so much. So it's about how we are going to trust the Most High. That's what this Torah portion is all about. It's about trusting him. And if we don't understand this, then we're not going to move forward in our relationship with the Most High. Okay. You find in the book of Mishlei, which is called Proverbs, where in chapter number 3, where the Most High has given the king of Israel, which is Shlomo, the words to speak about what one should do, right? And to trust in the Most High, meaning to put our confidence in him. And it tells us to put our confidence in the Most High with all of our heart, right? And to not lean to our own understanding, right? Don't rely upon this. Because if you and I are not relying upon the Most High, then we're going to make some mistakes. Okay. By the way, the word mishle comes from the word mashal, and mashal means to rule or to have dominion. Okay. And in order to learn how to rule, in order to be in, especially in the Most High's dominion. You and I can't take that place unless we have trust, unless we have confidence. And when it talks about all of our heart, what he's talking about is a heart that's tamed. Okay. So in the Hebrew language, which I don't have any Hebrew up on this in particular verse right here, but it talks about all your heart. Okay, is all of your mind, and all of your mind has to be tamed, right? So if you and I are going to open ourselves up to having a real meaningful relationship with the Most High, then we're going to have confidence in him. We're going to have confidence in what he has done and what he has said. Okay. And so there's a reliance that we have on him versus how we see things ourselves, because our understanding can be flawed, right? We've learned different things from different people. We've learned from family. We're influenced by individuals that are outside of our family. We're influenced by friends. We're impacted by the world around us. And so this trust is a big deal with the Most High. It's huge, right? I also want to let you know that, you know, no one waiting for Yahweh will be disgraced. This is what King Dawid has said. But disgrace is going to await those who break faith with Yahweh for no reason, right? That breaking faith right there is being treacherous towards the Most High. That means that they're really not in a relationship with him because they really want to be. They're in it for their own personal gains, right? And so it's not a real meaningful relationship. But the idea behind trust is about waiting for the Most High. Now, when I first read this, I was thinking, well, we are disgraced, right? So I want to be clear, right? That we, at this moment in time, the children of Israel we're shameful, okay? I don't say that to discourage us, okay? I'm saying that from the perspective that since we've abandoned the Most High and since we have left Him and we have abandoned His laws, His statutes, and the commandments of the Most High, we have disgraced ourselves, okay? But now we have an opportunity to change that, right? And so the idea of changing that comes from waiting for the Most High. And that's what we're going to talk about today, okay? Yahweh is good and he is fair, and this is why he teaches sinners the way to live, and he leads the humble to do what is right, and he teaches the humble to live his way. In this in particular psalm, Dawid is asking the Most High to help him understand how to live his life. And what I gain from this is that the only people that can be led by the Most High on the path that we're on are those who are humble. And in Hebrew, humility means to give Yahweh an answer. That's what it means. It means it's an answer. It's a response to the Most High. Okay. And so, waiting on the Most High is one thing, but also too, being led by the Most High is another, right? And it's about us on how we do that. And so, in our tour this week, we are dealing with relationship, right? And so the Most High is leading the children of Israel all over the place. Okay. He led them in a place called P Hakarot, which I don't have it up here, but it's a place where he sent them there because he wanted them to be entrapped. Okay, there's a relationship that's found in the Red Sea. There's a relationship at Mara. There's a relationship at Elim and Shur. So all these different places that the Most High was causing them to travel and to go was in order to start developing a relationship. This is what he wanted to do. Put your device on mute for me. Thank you so much. So what we're talking about in this relationship is about development, right? So the Most High is leading them to the Red Sea. He's leading them. He led them to, Mara. He led them to Elam. He led them to Shur. He led them to all these different locations, all these destinations. And the purpose behind this was to develop a relationship. And this relationship was developed with Moshe and Aharon. In your Torah, you heard a lot about how Moshe was crying out to the Most High, right? When the children of Israel were complaining, he wasn't just going in prayer, people. He was literally crying. He was literally screaming out to the Most High because of all the things that he was going through and all the complaints that he was hearing from the children of Israel. I have here the Ada of Israel, right? And the Ada of Israel is literally the congregation, okay, of Israel in English. But the word Ada in Hebrew has a really significant meaning. It's found in these two letters right here, which is an ayin and a dalet. Okay. And that means the eye of the door. Okay. And as we always know, that the eye of the door means to see, and to see something means it makes you a witness. Okay. The Most High began to call the children of Israel the Ada of Israel when they were leaving out of Mizraim. Prior to that, he just called them the sons of Israel. He never called them the Ada. And so I found that to be pretty significant. So when they left, he began to call them the Ada of Yisrael. Okay. And more specifically, when he gave them the instructions to do the Pesach, that's when they became the congregation or the gathering or the witnesses of the Most High. And so, as the witnesses of the Most High, you and I are going to have to be developed, right? We're going to have to develop our relationship with the Most High. You and I now are not with any other prophets. There are no prophets in our exile, but what you and I do have is we have the testimonies of Moshe and Aharon. They both give testimonies. They both give instructions. Aharon more so deals with how the children of Israel are supposed to set themselves apart in terms of sanctification for the temple. So right now, we really don't get to hear too much from him. Our focus should be on Moshe because Moshe is our prophet. Okay. He's our prophet in our exile. Okay. That's our prophet. This is the one whom the Most High has spoken face to face to and mouth to mouth. And so Ada is literally the witnesses of the Most High. Okay. And so what the Most High is doing with the children of Israel is he's developing a relationship with them. Well, Akika, how does that apply to us today? Most High is interested in developing a relationship with us. Okay. Even though you and I are not in Mitzrayim, where we're in a form of Mitzrayim, we're in a form of bondage and oppression. Okay. So it's about the relationship, it's about the development of a relationship. Okay. So here in the Torah, we found that the Most High said, I will make Pharaoh so hard-hearted that he will pursue them. And thus I will win glory for myself at the expense of Pharaoh and all his army. And the Egyptians will realize that at last I am Yahweh. Okay, so the only time that they're going to understand and recognize who I am and what my name represents is when I end up destroying these people. Okay, and the purpose for this is to bring about the glory of the Most High. And we're going to talk, a little bit more about that as we continue in our study. But everything that the Most High does is for his glory. It's not for any other reason. Okay. The bringing us into Egypt was for the sake of bringing us out. It's for the shalak. Okay. It wasn't that, the children of Israel, were sent there so they can live the best lives that they possibly could. Just like you and I in our exile, we're not sent here so we can live the best lives that we possibly can. We were sent here so we can get an understanding about why we were brought here. And I think sometimes we lose that, and we're losing that in the idea of how people are teaching, right? So they're still kind of religious. They're still trying to, get us to, you know, say that we can obtain something while we're in exile that we don't have. Like, for example, our priesthood. We don't have that. We don't have a leadership. And of course, people are developing leaderships, which is, I would say that's okay. You need some type of structure, but there's nothing that's really, cohesive. There's nothing that's really, brought together, right? We're all not a cot. There's so many different opinions out here. So here, the Most High is saying that, listen, I'm going to bring them to this place so I can win glory for myself. So this was a strategic move by the Most High in order to bring glory to himself, to bring kavod, to bring the heaviness of his name. And so what we understand is that the Most High does things in order to bring about glory for himself. So I brought you in and I'm going to bring you out. And so The children of Israel said this. Was it because there wasn't enough graves in Egypt that you brought us out to die in the desert, meaning in the wilderness? Why have you done this to us? Okay, bringing us out of Egypt. I put this in particular passage here because I want you to understand something. The children of Israel thought that Moshe brought them out. They did not ascribe this to the Most High. This whole thing has been about whether or not they believed the Most High was with them, or whether or not He's the one who brought them out. They didn't accept that. They thought the things that were being done were magic tricks, right? They were thinking that the other gods. This is the reason why in our Torah portion next week you're going to find out that they were still practicing idolatry. They thought that Moses did this, right? So because of that, they thought that, you're the one who did this, you and your brother and your sister, you guys are the ones who brought us out here. That's the reason why we're out here right now, right? And so, they come to this, and the reason why they said that is because they were afraid. So the Red Sea experience of building this relationship was to cause them to fear and cause them to panic and cause them to have some form of regret of, leaving Mitzrayim. So now we can see why the Most High has brought them to the Red Sea. Okay, because remember, this is his doing, right? So Pharaoh thought that the children of Israel were trapped. They had nowhere to go. The only thing they were faced with was the sea. Yes, Michelle.
So you say the Red Sea, but when I read it, the translation that I read says the Sea of Reeds.
Yes. That's another translation of it, right? I'm putting this here just so the people who have never heard of it before, right? So to bring no confusion to them, is also called the Sea of Suf, right? The Yam Suf. And so which is the reeds. So the place is the purpose of the place is to have them elicit these emotions. Okay. My point I'm bringing out is that the Most High brought them here in order for them to experience the fear, in order for them to have the panic, and also He knows that they have regret about leaving. This is the reason why they're saying what they're saying to Moshe. Okay, so why would the Most High do this? That's the question. Why would He bring them to a place to have them in fear and have them in panic and regret? Well, it's connected to His glory. The Most High wants to demonstrate His glory. He wants to demonstrate His power. That's the reason why you and I are brought to the place we're at. This is the whole point, right? So Yah has never changed. Let me see. Someone wants to get in right quick. Now, here's something interesting. The same chapter, right? They said, didn't we tell you in Egypt to let us alone? Okay. We'll just go on being slaves for the Egyptians. It would be better for us to be the Egyptian slave than to die in the desert. So this is this is their theme. They're concerned about dying in the desert, right? And when they were talking about, didn't we tell you, right, to leave us alone? Didn't we tell you to abandon the idea of speaking to us? Isn't that what we told you? And so this word alone primarily means I need you to desist and refrain from having a conversation with me. We don't want to hear your speech. We don't want to see any of the activities. We don't want to see anything. What we want you to do is to leave us alone so we can continue to live the life that we're living, right? And we don't want to change anything. We're fine with being slaves. We're fine with the things that we've been taught. We're fine with the customs and the culture, even at the expense of our own freedom. And that's something that you and I need to think about, right? So when it talks about, wouldn't have been, we would be better off if we were still slaves, right? So when they went in, they didn't go as slaves. But when they're coming,
Okay.
Shaw, go ahead and put your device on mute. Let me see. So it's about going in and it's about coming out. That's what I'm trying to get us to see. Okay. I want to share with you how the Most High's intention is to bring us out again. Okay. What they were doing, everyone, is they left physically. I need you to hear what I'm about to tell you. They left physically, but their minds were still left in Egypt. Their bodies went out, but their mind was still left there. Right? So every part of them did not come out of Egypt. And we see this in the book of Ezekiel, where he says, didn't I tell you to get rid of your gods? Right? So it's a mindset. So they still have the same mind that they had when they went in, when they came out. And Yah has reversed the process. Okay. He's reversed the process for us. And that's what he's doing for us right now. So when they went in, right, they went in with their bodies and their souls. And they were idolatrous, by the way, even though their father told them to get rid of their gods before they went in Egypt. So now what the Most High is doing is he's reversing the process. Okay. The first time the Most High came to get them, he brought them out, but the only thing that came out was their body. They left their mind. Okay. On the bottom of the screen, the Most High says, I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to go with the mind first, and then I'm going to bring the body out. See? I'm going to bring you here first. I'm going to deal with this. Okay? Which in Hebrew is called your lavavika, which is your mind, which is your inner authority. So I'm going to deal with your mind first, and then I'll bring your body out. The Most High brought the body out first, and then he was hoping that they would change their mind about serving him. But it didn't work out that well. Okay. So if we reverse engineer this on both ends, okay, when you're in slavery, they're going after your body, but ultimately they want to destroy your mind. So what's at the center of is the mind. Okay. So when they're in Egypt and you're in the nations, right? Our bodies are here. Okay. And then he says, I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave your body here, but I'm going to deal with the mind first. The mind is the center of everything. God doesn't want your body. I don't need your body. I need your mind. Okay. So we find that in what they would call the Shema. When it says what? It says Shema Yisrael, right? Shema Yisrael, Yahweh. You guys know your Shema? Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh God. So start right there. So Yahweh's one, right? So Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. Shema means to listen. That's a command. I need you to listen, right? And what does he ask us? Does he ask that we give him our bodies? Is this first thing he says? No, he says wahavata. Ahavata means to love or to look towards Yahweh with your mind. That's the first thing he's asking for. Ahavata ivakol, all of your mind. I need all of your mind. I don't want some of your mind. Your mind is what controls your emotions, and it controls your behaviors, and it controls your desires, and ultimately it controls your body. So if it called your lavavika and uva called meotika, I mean your nafshika and your meotika. I need your mind, I need your soul, and I need all your resources. Okay? So when it talks about your resources, forget my writing, it's not me, it's the internet. So when he's talking about your mind and your soul and your resources, and I want all of it, what he's talking about, everything that's inside of your house has to be for the glorification of Yah. Hear me, and hear me very well. The way that we live our lives and the way that we manage our lives have to be with Yahweh always in the front of our minds. The materials that you and I read or the things that the television programs that we watch, we have to be able to understand that Yahweh has to be the front and center of that. When he's talking about your home, he's talking about your home should be organized. Your home should be peaceful. Your home your resources shall be used in a way that glorifies Yah. And we've never been taught these things. Never. We're told, well, you see a light bulb out. Now, this might sound strange or a little off. You have a light bulb out in your kitchen. You should make sure it's on. You said, well, what does that have to do? It means everything that functions. That's the reason why I mentioned a light bulb. It's like having a toilet that's broken and not fixing it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what we're talking about is function. That's what we're talking about. So when we're talking about loving God, we're talking about how we function. Okay. And how we function, it determines what our outcomes are going to be. And this can happen in our relationships because that's what we're talking about. So we don't want a dysfunctional relationship with the Most High, right? So you have to manage yourself, your mind, you have to manage your resources, you have to manage your soul, you have to manage your appetite, you have to a lot of things to manage. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. And we have to do it because no one is going to do it for us. Our own personal work. Okay. That Red Sea experience was huge. There was a battle at the Red Sea between Yah, or the Sea of Suf, or the Sea of Reeds. And it was to bring glorification to the Most High, and it was salvation. This is the first time that Yisrael as a nation was delivered by the Most High. Salvation is apparent. Okay. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Right. So, what is salvation? A lot of people don't know what it is. They thought it was an idea, but it's not just an idea, it's an action. It's something that has to be done physically. Okay. It's a physical and spiritual action. It's not just one. You just can't say I'm saved spiritually and it's not physical. They go one and the same. You can't have a body without a living soul in it for it to be functional. Remember, talking about function. So salvation for us has to be physical. It's not just spiritual, it's physical. And that's why I'm saying it needs to be complete. And the completion of that is the destruction of your enemies and for you to be set free. Go ahead, Michelle.
So for there to be salvation, you're implying that there must be some sort of imminent danger.
Yes, there has to be a threat. There has to be some type of threat. There has to be some existing problem. That's what it has to be. Okay. That's what salvation is. That's what it is. It's not just a belief system. And that's what you and I have not been told. So people are going around saying that they're saved. I used to do it when I was a Christian. I'm saved. Saved from what? You understand? So it's physical and spiritual. It's complete. It's not halfway done. It's not I'm gonna say that I'm gonna destroy your enemies and then I'm gonna leave a few of them. No, I'm gonna rid you of your enemies. You understand? That's salvation. Now, before going any further, what is the purpose of destroying your enemy? The purpose, everyone, of destroying our enemies, okay, and letting none of them remain behind is because they will come back on you. They will come back. They will, rally themselves up again. They'll go ahead and get the resources and support. They'll build themselves back up and they'll come against you, right? So you can't allow that to happen. So what the Most High has done is he wiped out Israel's enemies. Okay? Listen what he said. He said, stop being so fearful. They're at the Sea of Suf. They're at the Red Sea. Okay? He said, remain steady and you will see how Yahweh is going to save you. He will do it today. Listen to what he just said. He'll do it today. In Hebrew says on Hayom, on this day, he's going to do it. So salvation is when it happens on a day. Today you have seen the Egyptians, but you will never see them again. See them with what? See them with your eyes. I'm going to wipe out your enemies. That's what I'm going to do. Just like the Most High said to us when they went into the land, wipe out your enemies. But they didn't do it. As you noticed in your Haftarah, they had a lot of problems with people because they had a Canaanite king, Yabin, who the Most High sold the children of Israel into their hands because they didn't do what the Most High says. Here it says Yahweh will battle for you. Just calm yourselves down. Okay? So salvation for you and I, okay, is something that you and I need to wait for. Oh, praise be to Yahweh. He wants us to wait for salvation. He wants us to watch what he does to our enemies. And after he does this, you would be able to see with your own physical eyes evidence. There's evidence of your salvation. All of the Egyptians were on the sea and all of them were dead. All the chariots were destroyed. Not one of them remained alive. So why is the Most High telling us this? Why does he want us to? Is this based on faith alone? Just believe God? No. When the children of Israel came out and the Most High saved them on that day, they sang a song to the Most High in chapter number 15. Okay. And they talked about all the things that he has done for them. Okay. There was a song. And it says after he did this, they believed him. Okay. So it's not until you see something that you should believe it. This is the understanding of salvation. Salvation for us is evidence-based. It's based on facts. It's based on verification. It's based on how you can certify and validate the Most High has done it. So when someone comes along and tells you that someone died for your sins and they're your salvation and you can't quantify it, you can't measure it, you don't have any evidence. Because remember, the New Testament says faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. That is totally contrary to what the Most High has said. The Most High has made a clear example of what salvation looks like for us. It's about waiting patiently. It's about watching earnestly. You understand? And it's about having some evidence to declare that Yahweh is the one who has done it. This is the reason why the Most High tells us in Psalms, be still before Yahweh. Wait patiently till he comes. Okay? Don't be upset by those whose way succeeds because of their wicked plans. Right? Going along with your Torah portion. Right? When we're trapped and we can't see any way out. This is the reason why the Most High has brought them to the Sea of Suf or the Red Sea. This is the reason why the Most High has brought us to the lands of our enemies. To cause you to be trapped. It's only then that he can get the glory, because when you're trapped, that means that somebody got to come and let you free, and they got to snap the chains and they got to deliver you. If you have not been delivered from your oppression, then Yahweh is not your savior, because Yahweh is very clear about him being your savior. Yahweh is salvation. He's Israel's salvation. He's the only one. And you and I are witnesses to this. Woo! Can anyone testify in court and they didn't see anything? Yes or no?
Well, not at all. The evidence has to be physical.
It's physical evidence. You have to be able to make a proclamation or declaration that something is true. You have to have seen it. And that's what the Most High is letting us know about his salvation. Okay. Yahweh says this in the book of Isaiah, which is Yashayahu, meaning Yahweh's salvation. You are my witnesses. This is when he tells us that you're my witnesses. What is he talking about? He's talking about all the things that you have seen. You've seen me save you. And my servant whom I've chosen, so that you can know and trust. Remember? I want you to trust me. I want you to confide in me, and I want you to understand that I am he, and no God was produced before me, nor will any be after me. Yes, I am Yahweh, and besides me there is no deliverer. In Hebrew it says there's no Mashiach. There's no salvation. There is no savior. There's no one but Yah. How many times does he have to say this? If he's saying that we're his witnesses, why is he mentioning this? Because of what I've done for you. He says, I declared and I saved and I proclaimed. When he talks about him proclaiming, he said, I made it known. I spoke it. I made it heard in the ears of the peoples. Everyone knows that Yahweh was the savior of Israel. The only one who doesn't know is Israel. That's because of the mindset. Not some alien God among you. Not your character in the New Testament. Therefore, you're my witnesses. You're my Ada. You're the ones that I chose to give testimony to what I've done for you. Yes, says Yahweh, I am El. Go ahead, Michelle.
One thing that I frequently hear is people saying that that mindset, they blame that mindset of Israel on the mixed multitude.
Well, they
That it,
can't, that's not an excuse. The Most High is going to hold us responsible for what we see. See, being influenced by others is not an excuse. See, when he says, I am El, what he's saying is, I'm your strong power. That's what I am. I'm the strong leader. I'm the one. It's found in your two letters, the Aleph and the Lamed. I am the strong one. I'm the one who's done this for you. I'm the one who's led you out. I'm the one who's destroys your enemies. And it's evidence based, and you have to be able to recognize that. You have to recognize that there's no one else who has set you free. You have to recognize that there is no safety. No one else has brought you to safety. No one else has had put any security around you. No one else has protected you and preserved you along the way. No one else has rescued you from the distress and the problems and the oppression. There is no help found in no one else, and no one has delivered you from your enemies. Israel, it's evident who our Savior is, but we're not willing to wait for it. He says, since the days began, what days? Since he created the heavens and earth, I have been he. There is no one else. No one can deliver you from my hand. No one. He says, when I work, who can reverse it? Who can change anything that I put into play? Who can turn and make the sun go in another direction? Who can say that, you know what, the Shabbat is going to happen on a Sunday now? Who can do that? If Yahweh saves us, it's apparent. That's what this Torah portion is about. You weren't let go, people. You were sent out. Sent out. Somebody put the Pope. I want to talk to you about this other location called Mara. Okay. Anybody named Mara, please don't get mad at me for some of the things I'm going to say. Maybe the person who named you didn't understand what it meant. Okay. But Mara means something. It was one of the locations the Most High brought them to. They arrived at Mara but couldn't drink the water there because it was bitter. This is why they called it Mara, bitterness. Okay, so you all know, if you read your Torah portion, you know that the Most High let them out and he leads them to a place where the water's bitter. And that question is why? There's a purpose behind Yah leading them there. Yah wanted them to know who they were as a people. He wanted to let them know where they just came from. He wanted to let them know that their attitude towards him is one of bitterness and rebellion, which lends itself to disobedience. He wanted them to know that their whole intention is, was, and some people will continue to be in opposition against the divine command of Yah. Hear what he's telling us. Rebellion means that you're going against the divine command of Yah. You're going against the will of the Creator. The people did not want to lose themselves. And this is what he's telling us. Someone that is rebelling against the Most High is concerned about themselves. So what they do is they hold on to their bitterness, they hold on to their rebellion, they hold on to their disobedience. That's the reason why these people grumbled against Moshe and asked, what are we to drink? Have they forgotten that the Most High did what he did in Egypt? Have they forgotten what the Most High has done by destroying their enemies? I mean, how fast and quick did Israel forget? They began to complain. And this is all what's happening in this relationship. What they're doing is bringing a strain on the relationship. So when you and I are in our modes of complaining to the Most High, and when you and I are complaining to others, when you and I are complaining about our lives, when you and I are complaining, having anger and resentment, against ourselves and others, right? It's all indicative of you not trusting. You don't have no trust whatsoever. And that's a strain on the relationship. You understand? Moshe said that it's the complaints that you're making is not against me. Me and Aharon, who are we that you complain against? You're complaining against the Most High. But you and I have not been told, and we have not been taught that the very words that come out of our mouth are those words that Yahweh hears. Yahweh Shamoah, he hears us and he sees us. He's a living Elohim. So when we get into situations, we are like to complain. And we have some anger and some resentment like the children of Israel because we distrust the Most High. You see, when a husband is complaining about his wife all the time, you know what he's angry and he has a resentment, he's bringing a strain on the relationship. So obviously he doesn't trust her, or she doesn't trust him. It goes both ways. You see? And that's rebellion. You understand? There's a code on how we're supposed to live. And when we don't live according to that code, because the Most High chose us. Listen, we're not reading stories just because we're in Bible study on Sunday school lessons. The Most High is telling us this is what happened with you guys. This is who you've been the whole time. You have put a strain on the relationship. Why? Because of your anger, your resentment, because I'm the one who put you there. I'm the one who led you to the bitter water. So I can teach you a lesson. So Yah's letting us know when I lead you somewhere and I have something going on in your life, it's a lesson to be learned. Why do we want to live a life without no lessons? What makes us think that it's okay for us not to have any bad things happen to us or to be faced with challenges? What makes us think that you and I don't supposed to be susceptible to this? It's all to build trust. And when you and I are, when we get in those circumstances, like going to Mara in the bitterness of our lives, it's there as an opportunity for us to learn how to trust the Most High. That same chapter, it says, then Yahweh made laws and rules of life for them. Okay. And there he tested them. Where? At Mara. Okay. In English, it says laws, plural, rules, plural. It's not what it says in Hebrew. It's not. When it talks about making a law, it was called a judgment. Okay. That's a judgment. Okay. It's not a law. It's a judgment. This rule right here is a decree. So what we're talking about is a king. Listen to the reason why you and I should not rebel against the divine command of the king of the universe. Because our king deals in judgment and decrees. So what it was is he's making a decision for us. You understand? And the reason why he's done this is because his whole purpose is to examine us. Our king is no fool. You understand? Our king is the one who examines, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. Okay? He said, if you, contingent, if you will listen intently to the voice of Yahweh your Elohim and do what he considers right and pay attention, Shema, to the commandments and guard his kukim, his decrees, I will not afflict you with any of the diseases I brought on the Egyptians because I'm Yahweh, your healer. I'm the one who heals you. I'm the one who can turn your bitterness into sweetness. And then after he says this, he proves it. He proves it. He just doesn't say it. He proves it. How does he prove it, Kika? What did he do? He brought them to another place. Okay, so listen. When he did this, he gave them sweet water. He showed Moshe a stick, a branch of a tree, and he put it inside the water and it became sweet. What's the significance of this? He's saying that the very words that are coming out of your mouth are hateful and they're hostile. But I can change that. I could give you pleasantness of speech. That's what those waters is about. I can change your whole mindset if you allow me to. If you allow me, that stick that was taken, that branch of that tree, the branch on the tree is called an eitzan. An eitzan means counsel. In Hebrew, it means to counsel someone, to bring advice. So if we would listen to the Most High, he would change this bitter place and this bitter way of life for us and turn it into something pleasant. I will do this for you. What does Mara mean? It's bitterness, yes, but Hebraically, Mara. First letter is a mem, which means water. That's a resh, meaning head. Head, water head. What's the head of the water? It's like a stream. Okay, it's a stream that's flowing in a river or somewhere, a body of water, and the water is flowing. And when it's flowing, it's bringing life. Okay, but there's a head, it's where it starts at. A bitter person is the one where all the sticks start to block the water from moving and from the water traveling, from the water continuing the flow. So the sticks are there and it's stopping the flow. So what happens? The water begins to disappear. And then all of a sudden, get this out here. The water starts trickling a little bit. And eventually, what happens? The water begins to stink. There's no flow. When it becomes stinky, then it becomes bitter. You can't drink it. It won't bring any life. It won't bring any satisfaction to you. So a person that's bitter is a person where there's something that's stopping the flow. What's stopping the flow for us is the idea of our resentment and our rebellion to follow what the Most High says. When the water begins to trickle out and it begins to stink, the reason why it's stinking is because there's death of the fish and the life that's inside of the water. So our speech can either be one of sweetness or it can be stinky. And it means it's death. So what do? How do we get out of this? How does the Most High do this? Okay, it's interesting that he uses a stick and sticks it inside the water and changes it. It's a transformation for going from one state to the next. The Most High removes all this. He removes this through the counsel of the Most High. He gets rid of it. And once it's gone, then we have fresh water. We have something that's drinkable, potable, something that's safe. See, we haven't been told. We haven't been told. Okay, so this pleasantness of speech means that now all of a sudden, instead of you going against what I'm saying, now you have a willingness to be agreeable. Now you're agreeing what I say. Okay, so he changes it there. He transforms the water. Not so they can just say, well, we had a miracle. The Most High brought about a miracle today, you guys. This is what he did. Does he want you to be concerned with the miracle, or does he want you to be concerned with the lesson? The Most High doesn't want you to be mesmerized by miracles. Because you ask yourself the question, well, why didn't they believe after, they did the Red Sea? Why didn't they do this after Mara? Why? Doesn't matter how many miracles Yah does. It's what's behind the miracle. It's what's behind the bringing out. It's what's behind the Pesach and what's behind the matzot. It's what's behind the offering. It's what's behind it. What is the lesson? What are we supposed to understand? Are we supposed to just read these words and know and walk away with nothing? I don't think so. So the Most High, after he does this, everyone, and now there all of a sudden you can delight in the water that's been given to you. The word delight also is connected to the word Elim, which is one of the locations that the Most High brought the children of Israel to immediately after this, where they had 12 wells and 70 palm trees. And when they got there, they had some repose, they got some relief. So let's don't act like the Most High is trying to hurt us or trying to harm us. If he brings us somewhere, it's to learn a lesson so you and I can move forward to delight and pleasantness. So the bitterness that we may be experiencing right now is from Yah. That's the reason why we have the bitterness, because you and I have been rebellious against the Most High. But you and I can work our way out of it if we allow Yahweh to take us to our Elim. I told you this Torah portion is about Yahweh's timing. Timing is everything. When he began in chapter number 16, he said it was the second month on the 15th day that I brought the children of Israel out of Egypt. When he brought the children of Israel out, it was to the 430 years to the day that he brought the children of Israel out. When he brought the children of Israel out from Canaan into Egypt, it was a specific time. When I brought you on the 15th of the first month, it was at a specific time. Everything is about timing with Yah. So these are not, random places that he sent to him. It's not random times. Everything is done in timing. You understand? Like even in your Haftarah, you found out that, this man, this Captain Sisera, he was a commander of the army of Javin, of the king, and he went around and he was torturing people and enslaving people and oppressing them and tearing and burning down their villages and all these sorts of things. But it came the right time where Deborah, which we're going to get into, had sent and told Barak, hey, we need to go do this, and the glory of Yahweh is going to be revealed, and it's going to be done by the hand of a woman and not you. It was perfect timing. That storm, the fight that they had, it wasn't like on a beautiful day. It was raining on that day. There was mudslides on that day. It was torrents on that day. It's all timing. They were fighting in water, people. These people were not fighting in a clear, battle. It's very difficult. So what the man did is he ran and he went into the tent of the woman, and she gave him some nice warm milk and some curds. And she laid a blanket over him after he'd been fighting out in the water and the mud and all this kind of stuff and running for his life. And he hides in there. It wasn't like a regular sunny day. The stars, and it says in the song that the stars were against him, meaning that there was a time. There's a timing issue. The Most High has times where he's going to deal with people and deal with things and battles. So it's all on timing. Okay? So timing of what? The timing today is talking about the Shabbat, which you found in your Torah portion. It's the timing of the manna, the manhu, and it's also the timing of Devorah. I'm going to tell you what the timing about her is. Why did she come at the time that she did? Why was her role so significant as a woman? It's important. It's important for us to understand, okay? It's all in timing, okay? Now they begin to say, we wish Yahweh had used his own hand to kill us off in Egypt. That's what they said in English. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that at all. They're not wishing anything. They wanted Yah to kill them. That's what they wanted to do. That's what they said. Okay. There, we used to sit around the pots with meat boiling, talking about the time. Okay. And we had so much food, right, as we wanted. But you have taken us out into this desert to let this whole assembly starve to death. This is in chapter number 16. And again, you can see this is the complaint. Okay. So what are they really saying? Well, in Hebrew, it says something a little bit different. Their understanding is this. What they're saying, everyone, is that we would rather, if we were going to die, right? We want to die with a full stomach. We'd rather die with a full stomach than to die with an empty stomach. This is what they're saying. Was their complaint legitimate? Was it a legitimate complaint about not having any water? Yes. Was it a legitimate complaint about not having any food? Yes, it was. But how did they handle it? You can have your complaints. I'm not saying that you and I won't have any complaints. It's how do you handle your complaints? How do you express your complaint? Are you expressing your complaint with anger and hostility? Hmm? Are you doing it with resentment? How are we expressing our complaints before the Most High? Because again, we're not complaining against the person. We're not complaining against the situation because the situation is what Yah has brought upon and brought to us. He's bringing them there to make sure they didn't have any food. He says it in Deuteronomy chapter number 8. If you're starving, it's because Yah starved you. If you're thirsty, it's because Yahweh has said it's time for you to go thirsty. It's an interesting way to build a relationship, isn't it? But this is Yah's way. Okay? So they'd rather die with a full stomach than an empty stomach. Remember, they've been on dying. Why'd you bring us out? We're enough graves in Egypt? We should have died there. Why'd you bring us out here? We're not on water. We're going to die. The animals are going to die. Why are you bringing us out here? We're going to die. We're going to die in the desert. Why? So listen what they're doing. They're giving a forecast about what's going to happen to them because they did end up dying. As we continue to read in our Torah portion for the next couple of weeks, you're going to find out that they did die in the wilderness. So the more that you and I speak, and the more we start conveying this message of complaint and resentment and anger and hatred and rebellion and disobedience and this whole idea about we rather die, then that's what you're going to get. You got to be careful about your tone. You got to be careful about your voice. You have to change that Mara to something that's sweet. You can choose to complain or you can choose to confide. This is the reason why we have a Torah portion. Yah is showing that my people don't trust me. No matter what I do, they don't trust me. He's telling it, if you do complain, some of your complaints are legit. But it's how do you respond? Are you going to respond with complaint, or are you going to put some confidence in Yah? Confide in Yah. Don't complain. Confide in him. He's worthy of our trust. The Shabbat. The Shabbat, everyone, is about a rhythm. It's about timing. The reason why it's given in the day that it is because that's the day that the Most High changed the frequency. All the other days that he was doing his work, there was a certain frequency. And when you work and your frequency can be up and it be high. But then on the day of the Shabbat, the frequency is supposed to change, the rhythm. There's a rhythm to life. There's a rhythm, there's a purpose behind your timing. So the Shabbat is a rhythm. I want you to hear what I'm saying to you. It's a rhythm. It allows you to recharge. You can't recharge when you're up, and you're not able to bring yourself down. You got to go to another place. You have to diminish the frequency, right? And how fast you're doing things. You have to back off the work. That's why the Shabbat is so important. It gives you an opportunity to restore. It gives you an opportunity to come back to what you're supposed to be. The more that you're like a walking battery. And the more that you keep running that battery and you don't give it an opportunity to recharge, you're going to kill the cells and then the cells are going to die. That's in a regular battery. If you have something running on it all the time, it's going to drain down the voltage. You are a walking battery. I want you to hear what I'm saying to you. The Most High is designed is the whole world was made in frequency. It's all about speech. It's all about frequencies. It's about how you vibrate. And so this in particular day is the day that the Most High is introduced to the children of Israel to give them a certain rhythm. Your rhythm is different than everyone else's. You understand? The manna, the manhu, What is it? Was given to you for 6 days and had an expiration date. And by the way, it was divine. So not only the commandments are divine, but the food that they ate was divine. Not only the food that they eat was divine, but the days that they ate were divine. You understand? In dealing with Yahweh, everything is divine. That's why the manna only had a life cycle on it for that in particular day, except for the Shabbat. The Shabbat allowed it to continue to live, and that's the reason why he's talking to us through the manna. Because they ask, "Well, manhu, what is it?" In Hebrew, it's not manna. In Hebrew, it's called man, like man, but manhu. Man means what, and who means is it. What is it? What is it? What is this? They didn't know what it was, but they were about to eat it for 40 years. And they were going to eat it for every day except for go gather it and drop every day except for the Shabbat. So is Yahweh serious about the Shabbat? He's demonstrating it through the manna. They didn't find any manna on the seventh day. And you can see in your Torah portion, they rebelled against the Most High. And why did he use the manna? Because he's using it as a test. Okay. It says in the book of Psalms that it was divine grain. So when it talks about it was being the bread, it wasn't bread, people. It was grain. And the reason why we know it was grain too, and supporting evidence of this, is the fact that they were able to cook it. They were actually able to prepare it. And he says, whatever you prepare on the sixth day, you do something that's double. So whatever they ate that night or that day, they ate it the next day. So unlike us, they didn't deal in terms of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay. Whatever they prepared, okay, whatever they prepared it on the sixth day. They made double. So if they had cakes and whatever, they ate it the next day. Okay. So the thing that they ate on the sixth day is what they ate on the seventh day. So in some regard, ours is different because we're preparing stuff for today that we didn't eat yesterday. But if you want to be 100 with it, whatever you ate last night, you can eat today. That's what he's saying. So if you prepared something for last night, you should be able to eat it today, and it will still be set apart by the Most High. So the expiration of it is happening in these 6 days. That's when it's happening. The expiration, when it got worms and it died. It died if you kept it during these days. Okay. The only time that it lived was on the Shabbat. Do you understand? So the Shabbat is a living frequency. That's what you and I need to know. I'm getting scientific and I'm getting galactical with you, if you can follow me. The Shabbat is a living frequency. It allows that which is supposed to die not to die. That's how much power is in the Shabbat. And the way that he wanted to teach them this was going through the manna. The manna was the element, not only for the survival, but it was the teaching tool that he used to decide or to determine whether or not they were going to do what he says. Because manna has to do with life. We may understand what unification is or how to unify. But really, if you don't understand how to organize, unification means nothing. You and I have to learn how to not only unify or to how to unify with one another, but we also want to have to know how to organize once we get together. Okay. And that's what that whole thing is about. Okay. So where did this idea come from about unification and organization? It comes from your Haftarah. It's found right there. Okay. They begin to tell you to read chapter 4, verse number 4, I think it is. But I wanted to get full context. Context is always important, right? That means that we don't go out and strip out scriptures and then try to build a story upon something we read, one-liners. We don't do one-liners. Okay. We have to understand the context. We have to understand the setting in which this event, statement, idea has happened in order for us to understand and be able to assess what really happened. Okay. So here in Judges chapter number 4, it talks about this man named Ehud. Okay. He died. the people of Israel again did what was evil from Yahweh's perspective. Okay. So Ehud is a judge. Okay. And a judge is someone who makes a decision, or what they would say a determination. Okay. That's what a judge does. Okay. They're the ones who make the decisions, right? About whether or not we're going to do something, how effective this is going to be, how we're going to manage justice and righteousness among the people. Okay. So Ehud is the judge that was before Devorah. Okay. And Ehud's name means to be Echad. That's what his name means. The root of his name means to be one. Echad. Okay. Echad. Okay. Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. Yahweh is unified. Okay. That's what he is. He's unified. There is no extra. Okay. He's one. There's only one. It's him. That's it. Okay. It's very simple. Okay. So he's using Ehud. And after Ehud was a judge and he was judging for Israel, and of course, helping them fight their battles and whatnot, he died. Okay. So the Most High has to raise up another judge and based on timing. Okay. So the judge that he raises up in chapter number 4 is Devorah. Okay. And Devorah was a woman, and of course she was a prophetess, right? And she was a wife of a man called Lapidot. And Lapidot means the torches. Okay. Now you ask yourself, well, why are these names here? Because your name tells you what's going on with people, right? So torches, that's light. Okay. Fire. Okay. That's what she's the wife of him. So you see her in this role as a number one, a woman, which she was also a wife. And then you see her in a role as a prophet. You see her in a leadership role. And what's important about this timing is that there's different times in which the Most High has decided, right, to put women in the roles of leadership because it was necessary at that particular time. Ehud, which is a Akkad, he was the one who unified everyone. He was a unifier. So children of Israel, they needed to be unified. And then once he died, they were still unified at a moment, but remember said they did what was evil from Yahweh's perspective. The reason why they did what was evil from Yahweh's perspective and he provided Devorah is because he was not interested only in unification of the people. What he's looking for is organization. Her being from a man called Lapidot, talking about the torches, which makes reference to Sinai, by the way, when the children of Israel saw torches. They saw sounds. They saw torches. It was a divine presence of the Most High. Okay, and when she was judging and making decisions for Israel at the time, she used to sit under Devorah's palm. She had a specific palm, and the palm tree is representative of what you would call a righteousness. Okay. That's what a palm is. A palm represents righteousness. Anytime you see a palm tree, that's the reason why there were 70 palm trees. And righteousness means to be upright, like a palm. So what a palm tree does is it grows really, really tall. I don't have a thing right here. I'm just giving you some. It grows really, really tall. Okay. So they had 70 palm trees. And in these 70 palm trees that they were at Elam or Elim, okay, what it was, forgive my drawing, I'm not an artist. The 70 palm trees was representing what the 70 elders. And what the 70 elders need to do is they need to be upright. And that means when the wind blows, they'll bend. They can bend, but they don't fall. So when the storms come, the tree might be over. Forgive my drawing. It might be leaning over. Circumstances and winds and storms come, they can endure it. Okay. They can bend, but once they're finished bending, they go back to being this way. They go back to being upright. Okay. So it doesn't mean any storms are not going to come. It doesn't mean that you don't hold your beauty. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be upright. It means that you have to have the ability to be flexible and to move and to bend when the storms come. But at the end of the day, once the storm is over, you're still upright. And that's what righteousness is. You understand? So she's sitting there under a palm tree. It's her palm tree. Okay. And she's sitting in the hills of Ephraim, which tells us that she is from the tribe of Ephraim, which is the tribe in which Yehoshua came from. Okay. And all the people of Israel will come to her for judgment, for her to make a decision. Okay. Decision meaning an incision. In order to make a decision, one has to make an incision. An incision When we talk about that word incision, okay, spell. Incision means to make a cut into. You're going to cut into something to find out what it means or what's wrong with it. Okay. So once they make the incision, then they're able then to make the decision. That means the judgment. Okay. The decisions are made by the judgment of the judge. Okay. So, but what first has to happen is an incision. You have to cut into it first to find out. Okay. So when the Most High is talking about making his decisions, he's already, because the Most High knows the internals and he knows what's going on with the human heart and the human mind. All the judgments that he's made are based upon what he knows about us. So all the decisions, all the judgments the Most High has made, and this is the reason why they can never be changed, is because the Most High has done a detailed examination of the human heart, which is the human mind, and he knows what it is. And so when he sees things in our lives, he automatically knows. So he doesn't, when he talks about I'm your healer, he doesn't have to go to anyone else to find out what's wrong with you. He already knows what's wrong with you. But it was the right time for her. It was the right time for Devorah. Because Devorah, she, and in the Hebrew means a bee. She's like a bee of a beehive. And what does a beehive do? What does a queen bee do? They organize, right? And so what is the organization? She sends out her scouts. She has her builder bees. She has her worker bees. She has all these individuals. And so when you look at her, you can see that this was appropriate for the time and the way that she was organizing the children of Israel. Even though they were unified through Ehud, which is Echad, now it's time to organize them with words. And the words that she's using is Yah's judgments. That's what she's using, right? Along with her abilities, along with the fire and the torchiness of her, because she married a man named Lapidot, which tells you that the people that were around her had a fire and had a torch. The Most High specifically chose her for the time that he needed her in her service. And so when men talk about this patriarchal society in which men are always ruling, which is true, you can see now that the Most High says, I'm going to put a woman at this time because this is what they need. Because what they're doing is evil from my perspective. And so I need to put her in there because she has the tools. She has what I'm looking for at that in particular time, just like Moshe, right? So she's in a capacity and a role, a very critical role for the people of Israel, right? So they can then turn back to Yahweh. So the only way that you and I can turn back to the Most High is through organization. It's not just being unified, it's how we're organized, and we don't have that, right? So the Most High knows that you guys are going to be without it, right? We're going to be without a leader, we're going to be without a prophet, we're going to be with all that, but we do have Moshe, right? And her name, Devorah, is also connected to the word Devar, which has to do with Midbar, which is the wilderness. The reason why the children of Israel are talking about, you brought us out to the wilderness to die. You brought us out to the wilderness to die. We don't have any food. We don't have any water. The Most High brought them to the wilderness, everyone. Okay. Is because he's giving them a lesson. Okay. There was a location that I mentioned earlier called Shur, the wilderness of Shur. Okay. That comes from the word shore. Okay. And shore has to do with an ox. Okay. And the reason why, and what the ox is, it represents a very strong, and it's a domestic animal, and is used in order to bring about the traveling of goods and also to plow the ground, to trample out the wheat. So it has a lot of responsibilities and duties, but it's also there to guide, right? So you can give it a lesson. Okay. So the place that the Most High is bringing us to is without any support. There's no support. There's no life. There's nothing. There's no water in certain locations. Okay. And so the Most High is about bringing lessons. Okay. And he does this for us because Israel's like an ox to him. He's guiding us and he's leading us. Okay. And the oneness of the Most High, even in the word unite there, you still see the aleph and the akkad, the oneness. And the aleph right there is an ox head. That's why it looks like that. And that's an ox. Okay. And the ox is supposed to be driven to the location where it's supposed to go. So the Most High is driving us around in the wilderness. Okay. And he knows what we need. He knows that we need water. He knows that we need food. He knows that we need sustenance to give us strength. So again, Devorah is a picture of, organization, but and connected to the wilderness. The wilderness is the place where the Most High unites us and then he organizes us through speaking to us in order to bring us into order. The order of Yah is the words that Yah speaks to us. Okay. How does this apply to our lives today? The Most High is preparing us to go into the wilderness. If you are not familiar with Yah's ways, if you're not familiar, if you're not being taught like we're being taught today, right, that the Most High will lead us to certain locations. When you get to the wilderness, it's going to be pretty much the same thing. And you say, well, where's the evidence of that? Okay. The evidence of that is that I'm going to bring you out from the peoples and gather you out from the countries where you were scattered with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm, with poured out fury. Then I will bring you into the desert, which is the wilderness, other peoples, and I will judge you face to face. Going back to our Shaftim, going back to Devorah, going back to the organization, going back to now that you're in the what they would say the beehive. Now you're going to understand what's going on. Now you're going to understand the maintenance of justice in organization. Now you're going to understand this, that this is what I'm doing. I have to organize you. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to judge you. I'm going to bring this case against you. And we're going to do it face to face. So all of those who have hated me, they're going to have to see me face to face. Like I told you, I'm going to repay you face to face. All of those who love me, I'm going to pay you back face to face. I'm going to show you what it is because I need to maintain order and I need to maintain justice. And the only way that can happen, everyone, is through judgment. It all has to be based upon a decision. So the wilderness is a place of a decision. That's the reason why the Most High brought them out. It's not only for him to have made a decision because he made a decision to get them, but it's also too a root word of the word meaning to decide. You have to decide. You and I have to decide. You have to make a choice. Either we're going to continue to complain, or we're going to confide. We're going to have trust in him. Either we're going to be bitter, or we're going to be sweet. Either we're going to resent the Most High, or we're going to embrace him. Either we're going to love, or we're going to hate. It's up to you. It's your choice. You understand? So the desert is where you and I are going to be brought out to be unified in order to be organized. So you can't have unification without organization. And that's the reason why here in exile, nothing is really working for us. Because there's no way to maintain this order, and there's no way to maintain the justice. The final part of, or the segment of the teaching today is talking about the test. This is huge. It's about testing. And the Most High is interested in making known the unknown. I need you to hear what I just said. He's interested in making known the unknown. That's what a test is to examine, to find out what someone's character is like. Who are you? What are you about? So in the journeys of the children of Israel, they went to several places. Went to Shur, Elim, and they went to Mara. But here in these locations, Massa and Meribah, is the place of testing. And it had to do with the Torah. So every location he brings them is a lesson, and it's also maybe a test. Okay, so hear me. So just like our learning, the way that we learn, we have some professors on here, they'll tell you this, and we have some educators, right? You have to guide a person and give them a lesson first. And then after you give them a couple lessons, then you're going to give them the test. You're going to find out how much information did they retain, and what is it that they understand, and what did they comprehend? Are they able to put into practice what we went over? Right? So the Most High is saying, I'm going to give you some shi'urei, okay? I don't have a slide for it, but I should have wrote one for you, but I didn't, okay? It's called shi'urei, okay? Shi'urei. Shi'urei is a lesson, okay? And that lesson is for a Talmud. Somebody tell me, what is a Talmud or a Talmidah? What is the lesson? What's a Talmud or a Talmidah?
Student.
It's a student, a male student, or a talmida, which is a female student. So here's a shu'ure. A shu'ure is a lesson. Okay. So the Most High is putting the children of Israel to a lesson, a test. I'm going to test them. And I'm looking for the correct answer. There's only one answer that the Most High is looking for. Just one. And it has to be the correct answer. And so he's doing this in Massa and Meriva. Okay. These two locations. I don't think I have a slide for what Massa and Meriva means. So I'm going to define it for you right quickly. Okay. Massa means to examine. Okay. Thoroughly. Okay. And Meriva is from the this word right here, or letter is from, and Riva means argument. Okay. That means to argue. So I'm going to examine the argument. Okay. Like one would do in a court setting. Everyone has an argument, right? So you present your case, you present your argument, and let's hear it. I want to hear what it is. I want to examine it. Okay. Let's examine the argument. So the people are to go out and gather a day's ration every day. By this I will test whether they will observe my Torah or not. Some people take this as if the Most High doesn't know whether or not they're going to do the Torah or not, whether or not they're going to follow instructions, going back to the manna. What the Most High is saying here is, I'm going to make known the unknown. I'm going to examine your character. I'm going to examine your motivations. And I'm going to do this through the Torah. How does this apply to us today? If the children of Israel were commanded to go out for 6 days and to gather the manna, okay, and they're supposed to get a day's ration every day, every day, every day. If they want to eat every day, okay, I'm going to use this method of testing them. I'm going to examine them by this. So what I'm using is I'm using timing, right? And again, it's all connected. I'm going to use the day to find out whether or not. I'm going to use the day to find out. I'm not going to use the night. I'm going to use the day. I'm going to use when the sun comes out. Okay. That's what I'm going to do. And I want to know whether or not they're going to do the Torah. But it's making known to them. So I'm only doing this so they can see who they are. Not that I don't know. Okay. So you and I are supposed to do something every single day. Okay. Because remember, Yah has reversed engineer. I'm not after the body, I'm after the mind. If he wants to know if you and I are going to keep his Torah, he's going to test you. Yah is going to examine you every day. And at the end, on the last day that he's going to test you, is the 6th day. That's the test day. I want to see if you're going to honor the 7th day. So every day for the 6 days is your test. You and I are supposed to do something every single day. And what is that? What are you supposed to do every day to find out whether or not you're going to do the Torah? I'm going to test you
Study.
if you're going to read your Torah. I'm not going to put manna out for you. I'm going to put the Torah. I'm going to put my words, because remember, they asked a question, Manhu. Manhu is, what is it? What is it? The Manhu was a representation of Yahweh's Torah, because the Torah is life. That's what it is. If you follow the instructions, then you will be able to live. Yah wants to know if you and I are going to go out and gather the reading of the Torah. If you don't gather the Torah and you do not read your Torah, then you are going to fail the test. Okay? You're not going to be obedient to the instructions. So this is what you and I need to understand. That's what the Manhu is. It's not just the grain. It's remember I told you it's not the elements that you need to be looking at. It's not the ox that you need to be looking at. You need to understand how it's functioning and what's behind it. It wasn't the Red Sea that you need to be looking at. You need to look at what Yah has done, what the salvation is. It's not him just killing your enemies that you need to just look at. You need to understand the reason why and what salvation really represents. That's the test. The whole community of people of Israel left the scene desert traveling in stages, and Yahweh had ordered, as he had ordered, and camped in Rephidim, which is refresh and support. But there was no water for the people to drink. Okay, chapter number 17. The people quarreled, again, arguing and demanding, give us water to drink again. So did they pass the test? No, they didn't. And where are they doing this at? They're doing it at Massa, right? And they're doing it at Meribah. But Moshe replied, why do you pick a fight with me? So look at the contrast here. The Most High is camping them in a place called refreshment and support. And they're in the desert. They're still there. They're traveling in stages. But they go to a place called refreshment and support. But there is no refreshment and support. And they're give us water. Command, give us water. And they wanted to stone him. He said, why are you picking a fight with me? Why are you testing Yahweh? So again, they're traveling in stages. Yah brings them to a place that is completely the opposite. There is no refreshment there. There is no water. But guess who is there? Yah was there. He's there. So what does he do? I'm going to show you in chapter number 17. Yahweh does something to prove that he is there. The place was named Massa, testing, and Meribah, quarreling, because of the people quarreling, arguing of the people of Israel, and because they tested Yahweh by asking, is Yahweh with us or not? So, to test Yah is to ask the question, is Yahweh with us or not? Okay, that's what they experience. Their experience in the wilderness. Okay. Right? So how would you and I test Yah? It's the reverse of this. What is it? Remember, it's reverse engineering. What is it? They said, is he here with us or not? He brought us to a place of refreshment. Where is he? They're testing him. What is our test? How are we testing him?
Our mind, isn't it? I mean, he's testing our mind to see if we're gonna serve him or not.
Yeah, but what is the question, Dawi? What are we saying? What is
he coming for us?
What's someone say?
Is he coming for us or not?
That's a good one. That is a good one. Is he coming for us? But reverse this statement. Reverse this one. What is if you were to reverse?
Are we with
Yeah,
him
it's
or
not coming.
Reverse, is Yahweh with us or not? Reverse that. Reverse engineering. What would be?
Are we with Yahweh or not?
That's a good one. How about this one? All of those are good answers. Guess what another one is? Yahweh's with us. Yahweh's with us. Yeah.
So a rhetorical question.
Yes. Listen, in the Psalms, it kept asking, and people are going to ask, well, where's your Elohim? Where's your Elohim? Isn't he with us? Isn't he with us? Why are the people asking, where's your Elohim? Question is Yah coming to get us? That's a test too, by the way. That was a great one.
So
go ahead.
I'm sorry. So this would be considered what you previously spoke on, something being a question.
Yeah, this is kind of like it's a way of our arrogance. Now, rebellion against the Most High is not just going only against what he says. Okay. It's not just going against, that's not part of rebellion only. That's not only it. He tells us in the book of Leviticus, I don't have a slide for it, it says that you have to admit that I'm the one who sent you into exile. But the children of Israel are not admitting that. So instead of them saying, you did this to us, they're saying, we're okay. They're saying, he's with us. As a nation, he's with us. You understand? Let me dig a little bit deeper. Because our rebellion, our testing, we're testing Yah by the things that we say. This people, listen, Deuteronomy 31 tells us this. It says, this people will get up and offer themselves as prostitutes to foreign gods of the land where they're going. Okay? This is he telling us what it is. Because your past is your future in Hebrew. When they are with those gods, they will abandon me and break my covenant, which I have made with them. Then in my anger, right, then my anger will flare up and I will abandon them. I want you to see, I will abandon them and hide my face from them. They will be devoured and many calamities and troubles will come upon them. Then they will ask, haven't these calamities come upon us because our power of powers, our Elohim, isn't here with us? This is what Yah told Moshe before he died. This is what we should say. But we're not saying that. We're saying that he is with us, that he's here with us. But he said that they will be scattered and they will be in these lands with all these other gods. This is what we should say. But our people as a whole are not saying that. They're not saying Elohim isn't here with us. They're saying he's here with us. Akika, but I thought you said that the Most High hears us and he sees it. Yes, he hears it all because he's not in the lands. He's not in the lands with us. He's not. He says, well, I'll make a little sanctuary for you. Yes, I'll make a sanctuary for you. But as a whole, as a nation of people, Yah's not with us as a nation, a body of people. Go ahead, Mashal.
So I was looking at the definition of Masa here in the Safari app, and it says temptation, number one, and number two, the place in the wilderness where the Israelites tested Yahweh.
Uh-huh. Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah. A deeper dive would bring you to an examination of Masa, right? So that's the place where they test, well, it says test, but exam and test are synonymous. Okay. So they're testing him. They're trying to examine him, right? And so that's what they're saying to him. So when they were complaining about the water, he brought them there and he asked Moshe to smite the rock that I don't have a slide for, because I only wanted to bring out the point that the whole thing is about whether or not Yah's with you or not. That's the whole thing. The whole thing about him bringing them to the Red Sea was to find out if he was with them. I'm the one who brought you out, not Moshe. I'm the one who brought you through the Red Sea. I'm the one who brought you to Elam. I'm the one who brought you to Shur. I'm the one who bring you on the journey. I'm the one who brought you to Mara. I brought you to the bitter water. I'm the one who brought you here. I brought you to the 12 wells and the 70 palm trees. I'm the one who brought you to the place where there's nothing. I brought you to desolation. I'm the one. So they're doubting the Most High. They don't have any confidence in him. You see? So that's the problem, is that no matter what was going on, they still couldn't recognize that he was with them. And that was because they were rebels and they didn't want to see it. You understand? They didn't want to accept it. Seeing is acceptance of what has been seen, right? Yah has clearly proven that he is their Elohim by the things in which he has done. So for us, when we talk about our salvation, we're talking about who he is to us. It has to be associated with something that you can visibly see, and it has to be evidenced. It can't be based on emotion, and it can't be based on thought or theory. It has to be factual. It has to be validated. Okay? So when Yah's with them, they overcome their calamities. They overcome their troubles. They defeat their enemies. But if Yah's not with us, then you're going to have these problems. He said, I will abandon them and I will hide my face from them in Deuteronomy chapter number 31. Continuing on, he tells us in Ezekiel 39. Therefore, Yahweh, the power of powers. put the word power of powers there because Elohim just doesn't do it justice. Because what he's saying is, if there's any power, I'm the power of that power. If there's the power of this, I'm the power of the sun. I'm the power of the rain. I'm the power of the winds. I'm the power of, animals. I'm the power of everything. I'm the power of you. There is no power outside of me. I'm the only power. Okay. So the power of power says this. Now I will restore the fortunes, meaning the captives of Yaakov, and have compassion on the entire house of Israel. This is in Ezekiel 39. And I will be jealous for my set apart name. They will bear their shame, which I told you earlier about, right? That a lot of us don't want to be in the shame. We think we're okay. We're thinking he's with us, and he's not. He's saying, look, you have shame on you, okay? And their guilt, right? And all their guilt from breaking faith with me. We've been unfaithful to the Most High. And he says, once they're living securely in their land, okay, future tense, with no one to make them afraid, this will be after I brought them back from the peoples and gathered them out of their enemies' lands, thereby consecrating, therefore being consecrated through them in the sight, in the eyes of many nations. Then they will know that I am Yahweh, their power of powers. So you and I are not going to know, just like he said, Pharaoh and his army in Mizraim is not going to know until they see my power. Okay? You're not going to know salvation until you see my power, until you see all your enemies destroyed. Since it was I who caused them to go into exile among the nations. It's Yahweh's doing. It's Yahweh, the one who sent them to the wilderness. Yahweh who brought them through out of Mizraim. It's Yahweh. And it was I who regathered them. Okay? Singular. I'm the one who's doing this. I'm the one who regathered them to their own land. I will leave none of them there anymore. I will no longer hide my face from them that you just saw in Deuteronomy 31. For I have poured out my spirit on the house of Israel, says Yahweh, the power of powers. So this is a future prophecy. It's in a Na'um, meaning it's a prophetic declaration about what the Most High is going to do. Okay? So when he's with us, then you'll know it because you'll be gathered back to your land. You'll know it when he's set apart in front of the nations. You'll know it when the Most High moves the captives back to their own inheritance. You'll know it. You understand? On the whole entire house of Israel, not a few here and there. Doesn't work like that. Let me close by saying that the mouth of the righteous articulates wisdom. That means that you and I are going to ask questions, right? We're going to be wise. We're going to be very prudent about what we say, okay? And so his tongue speaks justice, okay? That's that mishpat, okay? Justice here is the mishpat, is the judgment. So when we talk in the way that we move, we're asking questions in order to bring about the judgment of Yah on what he has stated. The Torah of his power of powers, the Torah of our Elohim is in his heart. The Torah. It's the Torah that is what's in question. It was the Torah that was used to find out whether or not the children of Israel would listen to what he's saying, meaning follow the instructions. I've given you instructions. You asked the question, why did he refuse to keep my instructions? What instructions? The divine instructions. From who? The divine king of the universe. Okay. So his footsteps will not falter. So if you and I will continue to live in a way that is pleasing to the Most High and begin to trust him, okay, then things will go well for us. And the reason why things haven't gone well is because the children of Israel don't trust Yah. They don't trust him. They don't trust what he's done. They don't trust him. They don't acknowledge him. Nothing. They don't read the Torah. They don't do any of that. I'm not trying to guilt trip you. I'm telling you the truth. If you and I were to trust Yah, then you and I are going to continue to go daily and pick up our Torah portion, because that is your manhu for right now. Matter of fact, the manhu had a timing element on it. It melted at a certain time. So when the sun would come up, the manna would melt, which is indicative of the fact that when you are to do your Torah, you're not supposed to read your Torah at the end of the day. You're not supposed to read your Torah at the end of the day. You're not benefiting off of the Torah. if you read it at the end of the day. The Torah is meant and designed to be the first thing that you and I are supposed to intake. That's the first thing that's supposed to intake for your mind and for your soul. So you're supposed to read the Torah in the first thing in the morning. That's the time you're supposed to read it before the sun begins to melt, because once that melts, it's no longer useful to you. Okay. So don't waste it. Take it and take what you need. It also talked about how the people who gathered much had none left over. Those who gathered little didn't have any. They were they weren't hungry. Okay. So Yah's pointing us, letting us know that, hey, one person might be able to digest a little bit more than the other. All of us are different, right? We're all different. So, and that's okay. So he's not like trying to overfill us or try to overstuff us. He's saying, listen, take a little bit of the Torah every single day, right? To prove yourself to whether or not you're going to do what I'm telling you. Because I'm preparing you, because you're going out back to the wilderness. That's where you're going. Okay. And then when you get there, if you don't know why you're in certain locations and you open your mouth, that means that you haven't learned. If you're complaining while you get out there, it doesn't mean that you understand. So people like you and I who are learning and trusting the Most High right now are being prepared. It's like him giving us a cheat code. I'm going to give you the cheat code, so when I come and get you and I bring you out there, you're not going to be the one that's going to be complaining. You're not going to be the one. When you go to a place and there's no water, you're not going to be the one who's going to start complaining. You're not going to be the one when there's no food. You're not going to do that. You're not going to cry out to me and test me. You're not going to do that. You're not going to do that, because you have proven yourself that you do trust me. So it's all being reverse engineered. Okay. Your ancestors brought out their bodies. They left their mind in Mizraim. They left their mind behind. They didn't even bring them with it. They just wanted to stay where they were. They were content. They never wanted to leave. That's the thing. They never wanted to leave. They were comfortable. Okay. You, their descendants, on the other hand, you have a choice to make. You can start preparing now, because when you get there, I'm judging you for everything that you've done. And if you didn't get it right and you didn't want to do what's right, you're gonna have to deal with what you have to deal with. That's just the truth. That's what the Most High is telling us. Anyway, here's your Torah. Here's your Haftarah. Here's your Psalms. Anyone have any questions or contributions or comments before we go ahead? Hanaya. Go ahead, sis. Take your off mute. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you for the lesson. It was excellent. And also, this is my first time here. We were emailing,
Oh,
I and my two other or three other sisters that are on the line with us. I think one is on YouTube still. But my question is, am I reading this right? It's Shemot chapter 18, verses 1 to 20, and also verse 23.
oh no. Chapters 18, verses 1, all the way to chapter number 20, verse number 23. So go all the way to chapter number 20, verse number 23. Stop at 23 in chapter number 20.
Oh, okay. Shemot chapter 18,
Mhm.
verse 1 to chapter 20,
Yes,
and stop at verse 23
correct.
in chapter 20.
Yes, and that will
Okay.
be, and some Bibles would have verse number 26, but what it's saying is stop right at the end of the 10 words. So the last word that you hear there is that, don't, covet your neighbor's wife or anything that belongs to your neighbor's, maid servant, female servant. And so then it stops right there, because chapter number 20, verses number 24 or 27, depending on what version of Bible you have, will then begin to talk about the judgments of the Most High. So chapter number 20 is what you're going to talk about, the covenant. Okay. So 18, 19, and 20, and then go to verse number 23 or 26, depending on what version Bible you have. And what it's going to do is going to open you up to understanding what the actual covenant is, right? Which we're going to talk about next week on Shabbat if y'all is willing. And the Haftarah is the connection between the two. So I don't know, often a lot of people don't understand why we read the Haftarah. The Haftarah is like saying this is the concluding part of your study, right? So Haftarah means to conclude, right? Or to come to an end of. So you have to read the book of Isaiah and you're going to read chapter number 6, verses 1 through 13. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be looking in these chapters for some type of connection. What is the theme? So it might be like a theme right there, right? Why is this mentioned? So you look at the names, like Yhwh means salvation. So maybe salvation is part of this discussion. Which of course we know in 18, that's talking about, 19 is talking about Yitro, and this is the covenant and all this. So you got to find your connection, just like we did today. I found a connection between Judges and our Torah portion when it talks about, Deborah, right? And how she was a woman. Well, who else was a woman? Miriam, she's a woman. Deborah was a prophetess. Well, Miriam was a prophetess. Deborah was a leader. Moshe was a leader. Deborah gave out a command to Barak, and Barak listened to the command. So you see some type of advancement with the people. There are some people you gave out and they responded differently. The children of Israel were given a command in the wilderness. They were complaining. Versus over in the book of Judges, they weren't complaining. They were, hoorah, let's go. We see the enemy of Pharaoh in our Torah portion. In the Haftarah, you saw Sisera as an enemy. So him and Sisera has a lot in common. You see that Sisera was destroyed. You see Pharaoh was destroyed. You see that Sisera came out with 900 chariots. You see that Pharaoh came out with the best of his chariots. You see Yahweh delivering the children of Israel, salvation in Exodus. You see it right here in Judges. So you make those comparisons, and that's what makes us wise, is when we can make some comparisons and find out the connections between the two. Okay. The Psalms here, Tehillim, meaning to give praise. That's what we're going to do. These chapters pretty much give a little bit more light, because to give praise is to bring light to a situation. Okay. That's what Tehillim means, is to bring praise, to enlighten one, right? So these chapters will give you a little bit more enlightenment about what these chapters are discussing, right? So as you notice, I used chapter number 37 today as somewhere I went to talk about, how we should humble ourselves and all those sorts of things, because the Most High is making those connections for me, right? By the way, I don't know if a lot of you know this, but there's a term or a phrase that's used all the time called hallelujah in the, when we give Yah praise, because that's what Tehillim means. That T right there means you, and this Hill, Hill, it really comes from a word called halal, and that means to give praise, okay? And the im right there is for plurality, so it's the praise, it's Tehillim, okay? So halim, tahalim, you will give praise, you will bring light, okay? You're going to bring light. You're going to bring some light to this. So when you praise Yah, don't say hallelujah. That's a wrong phrase. The actual term, when we talk to the Most High, you want to praise Him, you're going to say hallel Yah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. You're not going to go halu. You're going to go halul.
Lul.
Lul. Hallelujah. Not hallelujah. Halul. Coming from your word hallel. Meaning bring light. Okay. So halul. Not halu. Not hallelujah. So, we get the hallelujah, right? Hallelujah. That's wrong. That's wrong. It's not hallelujah. It's hallul. Yeah. So if you're going to give him proper praise, say it right. And the reason why you want to say it right is because it's a certain vibration. It's not, the halu is not the vibration. The vibration is halul. Halul. Hallelujah. Okay.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, hallelujah. It's not hallelujah.
That's good.
Yeah. So culturally, you want the proper frequency, you want the proper vibration to give him the proper praise, because the hallelujah is a false vibration. It's an erroneous vibration. It's not the one. Yeah. just
That's very good.
little information. But anyway,
Yes.
any other questions that you may have? And by the way, thank you so much for joining us. You know, we have
Oh,
people from all over the world. We have people from, favorite spot is Texas. Where are you from?
I'm from Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. There you go. We got got somebody from Pennsylvania. Yeah. So we
Yeah.
got from Texas and everything. One of our sisters, she has a great channel. It's called Yahweh Lives or Yhwh'S Lives. She put her information in the chat. So you may want to look at that. She has some great information.
Oh,
Very
okay.
thorough. Yeah. And by the way,
Thank
sis,
you.
go ahead. Yahweh Lives. Go ahead and give us your testimony because we want to hear it.
You know, I am on my 11th month of being what I call Yah only, and it happened for me slowly. It was like an onion was being peeled back. I started having questions about what is the role of this Christian Messiah. And I
Mm,
and as I began to study it and pray, I began to see the truth, which was that this person could not have died for your sins. And
wow.
so it's been a lonely walk for me. There's no one in my family. They think I'm going through a phase, that this will pass, that she'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And so I'm just so happy to find this group and have some people that, believe like I believe, that I can spend time with.
Oh,
Oh,
thank you. Oh, yes. Me too. And also my other sisters that are on the line now. But yes, I am. We've actually been watching for a little while before we decided to join, or rather, my other sister, she reached out to you, Akika Dawid.
yeah.
She sent you an email. Thank you for sharing your story. Uh, Yahweh lives. What was your name again? I'm sorry.
Sharon.
Sharon. I'm sorry. Yes,
Yeah,
Sharon. Yeah, it feels good to connect.
it sure does.
Um, because oftentimes it's like we're out here alone. It feels lonely. It feels like we're, moving against the tide. Everyone is saying, this is the savior, this is the way, but it's not. It's as you continue to read and study, you see the contradiction, and Yahweh opens up our eyes to the lie. And once you see it, you can't unsee it.